All right, welcome back to another Wright Stew, a very special Wright Stew podcast. I'm Paul Stewart,
And I am Brian Wright,
and
and we've
Brian.
made
It's
it to
it's
Sunday.
very special. It's very special. April 6th,
It's not very special.
1980, the year of our Lord. Brian Wright turns 45 years old. So happy birthday, Brian.
Thank you,
You
Paul.
know,
Thank you. I feel like you were make a big deal out of birthdays, and I appreciate that. Um, it's just funny. Mentally, in a lot of ways, I got a few thoughts on this. Mentally, in a lot of ways, I'm like 18, 19, maybe 20. I can't even legally drink alcohol. Physically, starting to change a little bit. Part of it is my own fault. Hadn't been working out the way I should have. But even my arm, right, trying to throw beeps like 3 or 4 days in a row, starting to feel like I've always felt elbow for a long time. I've had elbow problems for 25 years. But now the shoulder is starting to feel like, dude, there's something not right in there. So I just got a few more years to need to make it be with those, enough BP to, get my kids, bat on playing. But I coach other teams, and so you're trying to throw to them. My control's been really good. It's not quite up to Paulie standard BP, but I'm probably back up to 65, 70% strikes BP from 45 feet. So feel good about that. But again, mentally, I don't know if guys ever. Every guy I talk to is about the same. I don't know if guys ever truly age mentally. I mean, like in your mind, what do you think about that, Paul?
like CEOs and stuff like that.
I think maybe they do. Yeah, they do. I stopped.
The rest of us just stick around and
I stopped.
do whatever we do. Yeah, I'm the same. Probably 17 years old. Kind of stopped. Here we are.
Right. It's probably a bad sign as far as like my maturity as a person. Like I feel like most people will continue to grow and.
Well, I think it's part of you kind of segment and kind of put your life in little boxes. And when you and I are just hanging out or coaching together, clearly we're trying to, when we're coaching, we're leading the boys and teaching them what we know, but it's still a game, right? We just have done it longer, but we're still cracking jokes and having fun and picking on the boys a little bit and still the same nature, right? And all in fun, right? But I think that's baseball helps keep us young. But then you go to work and you're around work people and you're like, all right, I gotta be work, Brian. I gotta be work, Paul. And you're a little more mature, but you still find that group when you can still cut up with a little bit and have a little fun and that sort of thing. So, and then you get in different life circles too, and as an adult when you have to clean it up a little bit.
You have to adult. Yeah, and maybe that's the difference. Maybe that is the difference. You kind of know when to clean it up.
But if it's your true self, I'm the same, probably 16, 17 years old.
Yeah, true self. Now again, I can clean it up for the right environment.
Well, what's the one thing you go to where they test like all this stuff and they tell you like your real age or your like metabolic age or something like that? And
well, that guy spent millions, maybe willing to spend billions of dollars to like pull down his physical age based on the biomechanics or whatever it is. He's like 50. He got back down to 38. He's got a son that he looks younger than. I mean, I think probably my body is probably right in line. I'm not a doctor visitor. I've been fortunate with my health.
You are mid 40s now, buddy, though. You were right in the mid of the 40s. It's time when it all falls apart. This is.
Yeah. I'm not. Again, I mean, very well may. But again, I told you my thoughts on this. I want everything to kind of fall apart at the same time.
Go at the same time.
Yeah. And I'm not have these lofty expectations to make it to 100. I don't have those lofty. Hey,
that's a long time.
A good strong 75 feels like that's a good life.
It's a good run. That's a good run.
Hey, how about Duke last night? That took a couple years off my life because I found myself pulling for those guys like the Wolfpack, and they kind of acted like the Wolfpack the last 20 seconds.
A few thoughts on that, right? Like Duke was in control. It felt like 95% of the game. And Houston is a clearly a very, very good team, right? And it didn't feel like they were as dynamic. It didn't feel like they were as talented. But in the last 3 minutes, I mean, they're clearly good enough to stick around, right? And to be within striking distance. But it felt like they almost just willed their way to victory. They muscled their way. They created turnovers. They had that little stint there with around, is it like a minute and a half where Duke had trouble inbounding the ball. And then they got the steal, shot the three, had the putback. Like, I mean, that's almost what it felt like. Like Houston just said, we are not going to lose this game, and they did everything in their power to win it. And man, but yeah, I don't want to say Duke. I don't think Duke fell apart. It felt like that one felt more like Houston won the game rather than Duke lost the game. To me, do you feel different?
I do. The momentum is such a funny thing. We've talked about it, is fickle. Once they called that technical foul on, I guess it's a technical foul by letter of the law. The hand got high, hit that guy, and they had back-to-back possessions, and they scored. The whole game, it felt like we had been transitioned back to like the 1990s. I just hate how referees can totally control.
Swallow the whistle.
Yeah, I mean, they ate the whistle both games. I mean, I watched the Florida game too. The Florida game was very like 90s playground basketball, which people didn't used to like, and now we've seen NBA that you can't even really breathe on a guy to play defense. Yeah. And this felt like a throwback. It's so weird. And I know, and I guess those guys are kind of the way you should be. Like you don't want referees to decide the game, but when you don't call the game the way it's been called the entire year, or the way it's been called the last 5 or 6, 7 years, 10 years, you're impacting the game.
Yeah, Houston was definitely the more physical team.
Oh yeah. But they're fouling, and because they play physical all the time, and this is what Duke used to be really good at when they weren't as talented, but had a ton of success. They knew that if they played physical all the time, that the referee would not call fouls all the time. Yeah. And they impacted the game significantly. I mean, Duke was up 6, bro, with like 20 seconds to go. I mean, that's how I think this was a collapse. And I thought throughout the year, and my father's a big Duke fan, he's watched probably 90% of the game or maybe 100% of the games that Duke has played. I felt like Shire had won some games that maybe Coach K would not throughout the year. It felt like there was some good flow. They'd run some different offensive sets according to him. But it felt like Coach K would have won this game. It's just when you're up that many points, you got to have a couple of plays to get the ball in. And there was never a good – it felt like they were doing it for the first time. And Shire's still a young coach. As much success and as much talent as they have, it takes time to
win. And that set you're talking about was the set where I felt like Houston really just ratcheted up the defense, and they were like, "Look, over my dead body is this ball getting put in bounds, or if it is, we're ripping it out of your hands," sort of thing. So and maybe it was a little bit of Duke not having the right the right play drawn up. But at the same time, like Houston clearly affected that in the
100%. I would just say that a lot of times fouls are called because they're not just getting ball.
Yeah. No, there was a couple plays on there too where people were climbing on others. I was like, that's got to be a foul. So then, jump ball, like
then even like the flag foul at the end that set them to the 1-1 that eventually got them to lead. That when the
flag fouls, well, you're not calling the other stuff, and that was. It wasn't really a reach over. He just kind of reached. I mean, I guess technically he did reach.
He reached over, but it wasn't like a typical over the back. It was kind of off to the side.
His arm was off to the side, just kind of was trying to volley the ball up.
Yeah, it wasn't considering what had happened most of the game.
Yeah,
that was a pretty tic-tac foul.
And then it comes down to the end there. Duke didn't hit a free throw. Houston did hit their free throws.
Yep.
Flag had a pretty good look at it at the end there, a little middle of the lane, a little fader. He probably makes that shot 80% of the time, and just left it a little short at the in that last shot. And man, yeah, disappointing for the Dukies, but Houston, Florida looks like it'll be. I mean, it's still a good matchup.
Florida beats them by 10, bro.
You think
I'm
so?
calling this. Yeah, Florida beats them by 10. Duke could have give Florida a really good game. Florida beats them by 10.
Yeah. Yeah. Excuse me. So the guy who made the free throws for Houston at the end, Jawan Roberts, he said he's a 6-year senior. From the St. Thomas Virgin Islands. Homeboy looked like a real man, like 6'8". He's listed at 235. He looked like he was probably 250. But like 6-year senior is just incredible to me. So that what does that make him? 24 years old ish? I mean,
yeah.
Like I don't know, unless you're at BYU and have gone on your Mormon mission, it doesn't feel like you should be a 6-year senior playing. You know what I mean?
Well, I think we may see that more often, but I also say there could have been injury there. I don't know if COVID still, I think this may be the last year of COVID giving you an extra year, COVID, a red shirt, So it doesn't feel, I think we're going to see that more often. Miami, the football team had a 8 or 9 year football player. Like the kid had been in college for 8 or 9, should have legitimately 2 degrees, maybe 3.
Yeah, but still working on that first one. Yeah, so Juwan, it says birthday September 19th, 2001. So he was born in a crazy time, but 23 years old. So he'll be 24 at the end of the year, but look like a full grown. Yeah, was a full grown man. So
well, and I think what you'll notice with Florida has a lot of those things. Not that age, but there's a mixture of maturity that wins in these tournaments, mixture of maturity and talent, and you got to have the teams that generally win have a little bit of both. And as good as Duke is, they had some transfer. I mean, Duke had a bunch of transfers too. That's kind of the nature of the beast.
Yeah, some others. Yeah. What? So what do you think this means for Cooper Flag now? Is he gone, or does this leave a bad taste in his mouth? Does he want to come back? Is he that kind of kid?
I'm sure it leaves a bad taste. Hopefully there's the right people in his ear and go, hey man, you can set yourself up for life. And
we've talked about 2 things, right? He's comes back for an epic year at Duke. He leaves for the NBA, which most people seem to think. We haven't discussed this, Brian. What if he transfers?
I don't think there's no shot.
What if Will Wade gets in his ear over at NC State and says, we got $25 million for you, Coop. Come on. What? I don't know. And so I don't think NC State would be a viable option. But is there a sliver of anywhere that he could go?
Outside of the NBA?
What schools would have, like Oregon? Would they have that kind of money? Or
I don't know.
Texas.
I don't know. I don't know who would have. I mean, I guess there would be maybe 1 or 2. You feel like there's an SEC school that would come up with the money, and there's probably, like you said,
Alabama feels like they might have that kind of money,
but nobody is going to. Yeah, I mean this. So he's going to the NBA. I would say also, both of his parents, college athletes, kind of close to our age. Like Cooper Flag should be a senior in high school right now.
That's crazy. Yeah. I told my son when we were watching the game last night, I said, buddy, he's only 5 years older than you. That is, I mean, from 13 to 18, I mean, probably the 5 years you physically just grow the most. But that's incredible to think that, if you have a middle school, a 7th grade, 8th grader right now, they could be the national player of the year in 4 or 5 years, right? So,
well, I would say I heard his mom. You probably heard the same thing if you watched the broadcast. That in 6th grade he went from 5'7" to 5'8" to 6'2", and she was still beating him when she was a little bit bigger. She'd back him down and beat him in basketball, and it was pretty clear, apparent by 7th, 8th grade that he was different, right? And really, I think by 7th grade, he was playing against college kids, maybe not high-level college kids, but like University of Maine. So his path has been totally different. I think it's really you know, parents, whenever you're raising an athlete like that, I think and all of us, a lot of us are raising athletes, whether they just play in high school or play in college or professionally. You kind of knowing where to push and how to push, depending on your kid's personality, ability, desires, is a pretty big factor. And his parents, it feels like they've done a lot of things right. Because you think about, dude, there's a lot of kids that I don't want to say a lot. There's probably a handful of kids who have this talent. The maturity that is required, the emotional maturity that is required, the mental maturity that is required to be able to put that physical ability to action is pretty impressive.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So, we'll keep up with the Cooper Flag story, and then on Monday, well, I guess tomorrow night, watch the finals and see. Hopefully, I can stay awake. It's another late start, but
I probably will not make it through. I mean, they just make it really, really tough if you have something to do the next day and you have to get up.
give us the 7:15 start, maybe even 7:30.
Why not, dude? It's
That's
so
enough.
dumb.
Yeah.
I understand it when they do it like last night. It's on the weekend and there's 2 games, but when there's 1 game, let's get it moving earlier.
That they do it for all coasts, right?
Yeah.
But I've contended forever that it's easier for somebody from the West Coast to knock off an hour early or miss the beginning of a game rather than somebody on the East Coast staying up till midnight, having to get up at 6 in the
What's
morning.
another thought? Should we just have, and I guess times will just be different. I would kind of be a fan if we just have one time zone for all of the continental United States. And we would just have
really
one time
really
zone.
dark and really light, different places, different. Yeah.
But like it now on the West Coast, you would work from 10 to whatever, but it would still be or maybe 11. It would be at 8 o'clock on the East Coast. Your hours will just be different. We just have one time. I don't guess that would change anything in regards to this basketball game, but I do think it would make life a little bit simpler. Especially when you got certain ones that recognize daylight savings times. You got certain areas that don't. But yeah, hey, I got something I want to jump to. North Carolina Duke baseball yesterday.
Tell me about it. I didn't check it out at all. What happened?
So really, really good game. Ended up being a 14 inning, 8-7 win by the Tar Heels. They end up winning the series best 2 out of 3.
Okay.
But I wanted to ask you, like, your longest game you played in. What has been your longest game that you
played?
Two
18-inning games.
I played one 18-inning game.
18 twice. And it was in a matter like we did it within like 2 weeks of each other. And it was Beloit 1998. Both we did like it was I can't remember. I started one of them and I went like 7 innings, gave up a couple runs, threw pretty well, but got a no decision clearly. And we ended up winning 4-3 in the 18th. And then the other one was I was not doing anything. I was just sitting in the dugout, freezing my butt off. And we were playing the Rockford Cubbies, and it was in Beloit. It was early season. It was just miserably cold. And it was like 1-0, 2-1. No, like nobody could score. Like nobody wanted to go up there and hit because it was like 30 degrees. And
jeez.
So yeah, 2 18s. Those are my longest. That was long enough for me, man. Especially not pitching, having literally no chance to play in the game at all ever. It's like, this is cold.
All right, my second takeaway from watching. I haven't been locked in completely, but another college baseball team, now one that I cannot help but hate them, is Tennessee. They are emotional after every play. They're looking to show up their opponent anytime that they can. That is, the pitcher is walking off the mound, the umpires are, not calling strike 3, the catcher's getting ready to throw it around. And like, it wasn't like it happened 1 or 2 times. And the umpire's zone was a little bit fluid. But I just cannot stand the show up opponent. Like, I don't know. The arrogance and that Tennessee plays with gives me just, again, my 18-year-old, I hate them. kind of vibe. And maybe if you're on that team, you're in it. I don't even think I would want to be on that team. I feel like I would want to play against that team because they're really, really good, really talented.
Yeah.
But I just cannot stand. And dude, it's happening more in pro baseball, not quite to that level, but
It's the TikTok, the Instagram, the look at me.
dude, it is hit a home run, and dude, yeah, like this is number 765. It's like, dude, you hit 4, and this year.
I'm always a fan of and I've seen these a few where the kid hits it, does the bat flip, spins around, looks at his dugout, then it hits off the wall, and everybody's yelling at him. It's like, you know what? That's on you, coach.
Yeah, dude, I feel like it is.
You're letting this happen. You're letting this happen. Don't yell at the kid when he's got a single, hits a 400-foot single. You need to get that in check.
I would say yell at him when he hits a bomb, dude. Hey, it's one thing, kid. You can start. I'm good with jogging out of the box. I'm not good with everything else and chirping, and I don't know.
Like the one that comes to mind first is Jose Bautista when he hit the home run and the Blue Jays against he hit it and slammed the bat. He knew he got it. Guy's a big ball player.
That's more of an emotional reaction.
50 that year. Yeah. That was an LCS or that was a playoff series. Like, cool. Not the Wednesday game against Eastern Tennessee State midweek, their third starter who might not be great. Like, what are we talking? Or, I mean, I guess the SEC, the ACC, when you're playing conference games,
it's big games. So you only play so many of those series. I think you got 9 or 10 of those series, and so they are big games. But it's just I don't know. I just don't like how we show, or it feels like maybe it's more sincere. But if I was doing it, I'm telling you this: if I'd hit a bomb off the Tennessee coach, I would have pimped the crap out of it because he's out there acting like a fool, like he's Johnny Badass. And if I'd have hit it, if I'd have got one, I'd have walked maybe to first base because of how he was acting, just as his whole demeanor. So I think it maybe just kind of rubs on top of each other because I'm not a fan of that. But the way they act, man, it's just so.
But it's one of those things, and we've seen it a little bit with our Trout. Like you'll get some people who are clowns out there, and you want to stay above it, but then sometimes you just want to get right in it and shove it right in their face. Like, look, man, you've been doing this all again. Like, here you go. Here's one for you. Like, it's I was never much of a.
It's an epidemic again. I got to get over it, dude, because I guess my age is kind of showing because it's changing. And I guess baseball is an entertainment sport, and so it just the culture has changed, and it's changed in the big leagues, dude. I saw Boston. I saw them in a home run. Like all the college kids have been putting stuff on their heads when
big leagues been doing it for a while too. Yeah.
Yeah, and so now in the MLB they're putting stuff like one of the masks from one of their mascots on their head, and running through the dugout after a home run. Dude, it's coming, Paula. It's coming. Matter of fact, it's here.
A few teams have been doing that in the big leagues. And like the Angels had a cowboy hat or something.
That's right. Yes.
The Mariners have like a trident or something like that. But here's the other thing. Like when do you do it? Is it every home run? Is it just home runs when we're winning? Is it home runs when we take the lead? Like, because it's stupid. Like, hey, walk down. The Yankees still do it old school. That. Just hit a home run. They walk down the dugout, give everybody high fives, and then walk back, right? That sort of thing. The whole celebration thing, it's like, then you kind of have to monitor because some guys just don't get it. Like, they're like, oh, we'll celebrate every time. Like, yeah, but you're down 10-1. Who cares? Like,
well, I saw that. Hey, NC State Saturday night had every opportunity to win games based college baseball. Runner on second, third, twice. Then they hit 2 bombs in the 9th inning. And you could tell whether they were go-ahead runs or whatever. They celebrated the exact same way. And I was like, dude, I can appreciate it. Theirs isn't excessive. But, dude, when you're down, you just keep it moving, dude. I wouldn't celebrate. If I would have been my bomb, it'd have been shake hands. Hey, let's keep it moving. We got more runs. My home run didn't put us ahead. It's going to be a a mark in the box score. It's not going to do anything that dictates the outcome of the game.
Yeah, yeah. Brian, let's we don't talk ice hockey a whole lot, but let's
Getting
talk
real. Yeah,
let's
it's about
talk
that time.
let's talk some ice hockey. Well, playoffs are on the horizon, but what I want to talk about, Alex Ovechkin for the Washington Capitals has tied the great one, Wayne Gretzky, for most goals of all time ever. So clearly incredible. I don't know if Brian or I have a lot to contribute to either's career. I grew up watching Gretzky and Ovechkin as well, but just wanted to note that and make sure the Right Stew podcast was giving Ovechkin a shout out for. So they're both tied at 894, and a lot of the stuff I've seen, Gretzky's been on hand for some of the games, and hockey feels like speaking of doing things the right way, hockey feels like they do things the right way and are still very the gentleman kind of the way opponents treat each other, that sort of
And then
thing.
when it gets out of line, they go to fight, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
Hey, two things on that. Ovechkin had a chance to supposedly break the record on an open net. He chose not to.
Yeah, he said he didn't want to do it on an empty net, so he wanted to do it with a goalie in the crease.
And then the second thing I'll say is my oldest daughter is up in New York and dancing, and there's a big high school hockey tournament up there.
Yeah.
And the hair that the hockey boys, the culture is totally too much. Like I'm a tight guy. I've never been a bit, I've had my times where I've done some things with my hair in college, but these guys like polka dots, mullets, dyed blonde. It's almost like to see how ugly you can look was kind of how my daughter and wife kind of explained it. And so at the same event, the same hotel, there's a bunch of dance girls, high school dance girls performing and doing different things. And then you got the ugliest, I'm sure they're not ugly children, but they are presenting themselves with this obnoxious hair.
Yeah.
And it's very much a culture. None of them had normal hair. It was all, at least it was what I've been told, it's mullets, it's bad mullets, it's dyed blonde, dyed polka dots. Yeah.
So Brian and I don't encourage making fun of people, but if you do that, if you've just got bad hair, that's something, right? You're going bald. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
But if you intentionally, a haircut, I think you can make fun of.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
that's a choice you made.
I agree 100%.
If you're doing silly stuff, looks terrible, I think you should, and the compliments as well. If you get a good one, hey, looks good. But
it feels like it's very much embraced in the culture, in the hockey culture. It feels
like been a big deal. The flow, they call it the flow, have the flow. Yeah, because you're out there. Well, because back in the day, you didn't have to wear a helmet when you were out there skating,
which seems insane now. I mean, you're running around on basically cement on thin little blades, and guys are trying to knock you over, and no helmet, no mask. I mean, that culture is still a tough culture, which I really, really, really respect.
Yeah.
So, congratulations, Ovechkin.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll break the record either. Whatever the next game is for him. But the other thing that's really interesting, from 2005, 2006, his rookie year till this year, he's played 20 seasons, all in Washington. Didn't bounce around, and so the people of DC have to be. It has been treated over the years to some truly amazing seasons. So Gretzky and him, their numbers are really close, man. They both played about right at 20 years. Similar number of games, a lot of things similar, but I didn't think anybody would ever come close to Gretzky's stuff. But that was so congratulations. Let me give you a little. We had opening day yesterday for the Orioles, little coach pitch.
Oh yeah, give me an update on the girl.
Little update. So we we did opening ceremonies. The hardest part of the entire season is that opening ceremony when you've just got to keep your kids gathered together as you walk through the tunnel to wave to the fans. And then when you're all lined up on the field and somebody's up there talking that the kids have no interest in, that's the hardest part of the season. Game one went really well. The other coach had kind of right-minded as well, like-minded. Kids did great, played some good defense. Actually made a couple outs where they caught the ball and threw it to first, so that was encouraging.
Do we have a score?
I think we lost 8-5.
A good game.
So
Yeah.
low scoring ish. I had more strikeouts than I would have liked.
It's in you.
But I wasn't trying to strike anybody out, but a handful of strikeouts. We did have a couple kids out as well that may have made it. We had one out due to illness and one out due to Disney World, so they'll come back. But then the other thing, I talked about this when we were doing the draft. A couple teams like, oh, I got these kids coming back. We'll just keep the same. I faced that team in game 2. Much better squad. Hit the ball really well. Had a coach on the other side that was a little too aggressive with some of the base running. And so
you feel your blood pressure starting to get
a little bit. I kept it pretty calm, but I knew the head coach, and he was coaching first. The other guy was coaching third. I walked over to him about the 4th inning. I said, "Hey man, you need to get your guy in check over there." And so he goes, "Which one?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "You know the one now." Yeah, and I'm not going to get into it, but I said, "You need to get that guy in check. Dude. That's too much." He's like, "Okay, I'll talk to him. I see it. I know." I'm like, "All right." So,
what was the score of that one, Paulie? And again, I don't think, do y'all keep score?
No, there's no so it's either 3 outs or 5 runs. And they scored 5 runs, I think 4 of the 6 innings we played. And we may have scored like 3 or 4 runs total. So we weren't big bopping us. It was probably 20 something to 4 or 5, maybe something like that. So that was yeah, that was. I mean, but the kids still did well. And the other problem, or the issue with that game, they were being pretty aggressive running the bases. We had 7 players, so we had 2 outfielders. They had, I think, 9 or 10. So they didn't play a catcher, but they had like 4 outfielders.
Oh yeah.
So
that makes a huge difference.
Yeah, so anything hit, they're like our balls are getting stopped in the outfield, so they're just knocking them down. But so it was fine. Orioles played great, but they had fun. It got a little warm out, so some of them were complaining about how warm it was, and I agreed with them. But it's
dude. I thought it was awesome yesterday. We had a little middle school practice. Yeah, and definitely it's different with younger kids, but older kids. Now, I did think I've gotten to the point, Paulie, in my life. The wind was blowing in at a legitimate high school field, and I just had regular like wood bats, 32, 33. Dude, it was all I could swing to hit fly balls like past the outfielders, like where they normally stand. Like I had to go perfect to hit it like 310, 305 to get them to where they're moving around a lot.
Was it just a regular wood bat or was it a fungo?
Regular wood bat.
Okay.
And
Fungos will help you out with a little distance.
I think I'm to the point where fungo would be required because I'm no longer like I couldn't hit into the wind. I had to get the other coach to hit into the wind. And to start with, I had a bad piece of wood, dude. I would hit it as hard as I could, and the outfielders couldn't even run in and catch it, standing at a normal high school outfield distance. And so I have noticed that, and we were trying to hit it legitimate, right? So I'm running, moving kids around, and I felt good like when I connected on one. And, the high school's like 310 down the line. I hit one that short hopped the fence, but I was getting them, they were playing probably a little too deep. But I've realized now that I barely got enough juice without. I need a fungo, legitimate fungo.
Oh, I love it. I love a good fungo. Well, we have one on the team I'm coaching, like a nice wood fungo. The head coach has one, and I love when I get to swing that. It feels good, just nice and light through the.
I think that's gonna be my birthday gift to myself. I'm getting me a fungo,
and then we'll use it in a month when travel balls start back up. Perfect. Well, Brian, happy birthday. Hope it's an amazing one for you. And as a good birthday gift, maybe leave Brian and I some reviews. Yeah, give us some positive reviews on Apple Pods or Spotify or wherever you listen. And then any other thing you want for your birthday, Brian, from the listeners?
No, nothing. Just maybe a listen. Hey, send Paulie. Ask Paulie for some pickles.
I got some. I'll bring them to you later on.
All right, good deal. I'll talk to you. Out. Go Pack.